Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of The Devil's Due. I am your host, Carl Duty. Court is now in session. With me is, as always, is my co-counsel, my esteemed co-host, the man who, in brightest day and blackest night, you will never find him drinking a Bud Light, Mr. Drew Celestino.
You were pushing your luck with the DC reference there, but you saved it. It was good. It was apropos.
I knew where I was going.
You stuck the landing, and that's exactly right.
I'm familiar.
I can give you the family tree of beers I won't drink, actually, but you know.
I know basically anything you see advertised on TV.
Yeah. Anything owned by Anheuser-Busch InBev is on the blacklist, and that includes 8 and to varying degrees well-respected craft breweries that they have purchased in the last 5 years. So, yeah.
But Drew, they got a Metallica beer.
Yeah.
People told you about the Metallica beer.
They sure did. Look, even Metallica, as amazing as they are, and I have a story, even they're not infallible. So, you know.
No one is perfect.
No one is perfect.
So, here we are again, folks. Not gonna lie, folks, we have a big show for you. It's gonna be jam-packed, but it's gonna be good. We always promise the quality, and I like to think we deliver most of the time. So that being said, let us get into our opening statements. Drew, how was your week, sir? I'm just gonna go out and slow cook a souffle or something.
No. As insane as it's been, I can keep it fairly tight. And then you're gonna have to give me the skinny on the happenings of your weekend, because I know they were.
Yeah, we both had pretty big weekends. As
I warned you last week, I had a big week this week planned. So Tuesday, I went to see Gojira at the Rapids Theater in Niagara Falls. Thanks to a good friend of mine, Ryan, I had a front and center spot for the whole show, and it was fantastic.
Nice.
Gojira is amazing, and anyone who, for the geeks out there, they should know that Gojira is the Japanese name of Godzilla, so that's where they got their name from.
Yeah.
Number 2, they're really, really good. They're heavy, but they are very, very groove-oriented and hooky, and I think anybody can get into them, even if they're not necessarily into the heavy stuff per se. There's something there that they're very unique.
Yeah.
They're not a typical metal band. They have a very interesting sound that is hard to describe. Can't really pinpoint it.
They are the band I've heard you mention the most, second to Metallica.
That would be because they are my favorite band in the last decade.
Okay.
By a lot.
Yeah.
Hit a point around 2007-ish, 06, 07, I'm ballparking the figures, where I was bored with music. Metal was just boring the crap out of me. I didn't like anything that was coming out. I didn't like any of the bands that were doing stuff. I was just I think is this what getting old feels like? Is this when I start sounding like my father? And then I found Gojira by accident, actually. I went to see Machine Head, who was one of my other most favorite bands ever. And lo and behold, one of the openers was Gojira, a band I had heard the name before, but never saw, or never heard. And they blew me away. So the next day I got home and I did all the researches on the internet, and I bought all their CDs that they had at the time, and I've been on the train ever since.
Nice.
And and when I saw them on a one-off show in Brooklyn on the tour for the album that followed the one that I saw them on that first time, they had a headlining show in Brooklyn. I had to be there. And when I watched them at that show, they looked. Did you ever see Metallica live? I can't say the word. The Binge and Purge box set that you have right there. Did you ever see the Seattle '89 video from that?
No.
Okay, it's a classic. It's a landmark home video. Basically, Metallica in 1989, when they were at their absolute fiercest, hungriest, we are taking over the world, just wait, we are one step from becoming the kings of all things.
Yeah, it's right before the Black Album.
Yep. So, Gojira looked like that to me. Cool. I looked at them and I said, that is what they are poised to become. And now 10 years later, they are one of the biggest and most successful metal bands going today. And they've basically grinded it out in a very unconventional fashion. They're from France. they had their own record label. They produced all their own stuff. They did not get signed to a major label until like they were already 15 years into their career. So watching them rise has been really cool. Anyway, show was fantastic. For some reason, Randy Blythe from Lamb of God was there, but he wasn't performing. He was just on tour with them taking photographs and rocking out in the photo pit, which was kind of funny. So he's like taking pictures and then headbanging and like getting into it while he takes pictures. Weird. Alrighty. Very unexpected. So that was fantastic. Great show. Gojira is amazing. Check him out. Then that dovetails into the weekend, essentially. So Thursday after work, I get home, pack up, depart for Providence, Rhode Island, where my friend and listener Chris Taylor lives. And we are staying there because on Friday, the following day, myself, my guitar player Jason, and our friend Joe and Chris, we all went to see Metallica in the Den of the Beast, Foxborough Stadium. And yeah, it was excellent. Most excellent.
How does it rate against past Metallica shows you've seen?
Very, very highly. Maybe in the top. It might be in the top. Not the top, but in the top.
What is the top?
If I had to rank all 14, that would be really difficult for me because I'd have to
the best.
I'd have to really. The best was the one in November that I saw them in the Opera House.
Oh, the smaller,
the small when I was this close from me to you to James Hetfield. Yeah. That show is the tops. But in terms of shows, like because that was an intimate special show. Yeah. This was a show. It's up there, dude. It was up there. Seeing a show of that scale and the production value that goes into it is mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. Like, that stage takes days to set up. They have two of them. One's here. They perform on one. There's another one somewhere else getting set up to be played the next weekend and all that.
Makes sense.
It's mammoth. It's a 200-foot high several video boards. And it's like the whole backdrop. There's no roof on it. Like, it's just this gigantic tower of sight and sound. And it's amazing. And performance-wise, they were really, really, really good. And I've been to a couple dud shows where they were, like, just good enough. This was like, no, they were on.
Nice.
And, and I've been watching the live videos on YouTube. They've been releasing, like, roughly one per show.
Yeah.
And they have the guys who mixed the album, the new album, Hardwired, are mixing the live downloads or live releases because they do every show and they sell every show online. Whoever did the album is now doing those mixes for the download stuff. And, oh, my God, it sounds amazing. Like, they've done the whole show download thing for, like, 14 years now, roughly, since the St. Anger tour. In those early days, those mixes were not good. And even as back as, like, I don't know, a few years ago, the mixes were kind of just, like, just okay. Soundboard, quick EQ, release it, right? Now they're like live album quality every single show they play now, and it's awesome. So, nice. Yeah. So, 6-hour drive there, 6-hour drive back. Happy to report my external battery powered by Nintendo Switch to 100% for the entire drive both ways. Remember what I said about battery life not really being a big deal?
Yeah, because you had to spend extra money to buy a power pack.
And like I said to you, most people already have one for their phones. So it all worked out. As I said it would. Mm-hmm. So Hyrule's this much closer to being saved, but I'm over the 120-hour mark, and it's still not quite saved yet.
No, what are you, 10% game completion?
Probably. I wonder if it tracks that, actually. Like, your completion for items, it's going to be like, 0.5%. Like, oh my God, what happened?
It's kind of like, I don't know, you never had a PlayStation 2, so you probably never...
I did.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Okay, did you ever get into Gran Turismo?
I don't do car games.
Okay, so no. My friend Jim and I in college were big into Gran Turismo, and oh God, you gave that game so much, it gave you so little. Because it had like a percentage completion. So we would start a session and be like, you are at 13% complete. Like 9 races later, 2 hours later, you are at 13.7% complete.
Yeah.
You bastard.
Games are crazy nowadays, man. After Zelda, I need like a breather. Just like no
Told
game.
you you're gonna.
No games for like 6 months until Red Dead 2 comes out. Then I'm like, oh, okay.
Board games.
Board games, yeah. So anyway, I got back and I was tempted to go. I was really tempted to go to the ESW show in Tonawanda because Pentagon Jr. was there.
Seattle Matto.
Yep. But unfortunately, I had to, be a responsible adult and actually spend time with my wife, who did not see me in like a week at that point. So
yeah,
you know,
happy wife, happy life.
So they say.
Unhappy wife, godless, painful, soul-sucking existence of agony.
Wow.
I love you, honey.
Sure. Anyway, Sunday, went to Sunday. What did I do Sunday?
You were
brew day.
brewing.
Had a brew day. Oh my
Yeah.
God! Thank you for bringing me back there. Had a brew day with my buddy Colin. We're brewing a big bad IPA called the Meltzer Driver IPA. We are hoping to enter it into the Niagara County Homebrew Contest, and we're hoping to win. So let's cross those fingers that it turns out good. I think it will, but you never know. Sometimes the brewing arts the brewing gods giveth and the brewing gods taketh away sometimes. So we'll see.
Okay. Now, I know you name your brews after Metallica songs. Have you ever thought to name your brews after Nintendo themed stuff?
It depends. My personal recipes are named after Metallica songs.
Dr. Light's Ale?
Something like that. But because this is a collaboration between me and Colin, it's not a Metallica song. So it's the Meltzer Driver, which is the finisher of the Young Bucks. So,
alrighty.
Yeah. But it just sounds cool. The Meltzer Driver IPA. It sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
So we did that. I went to see my dad. Unfortunately, their chocolate lab passed away this week.
Oh.
So yeah, Sophie. She's a little older than Emma. So I've kind of grown up. We've seen her grow up, and unfortunately, she got cancer, and she's been hanging in there for a while. But I guess this week she took a turn for the worse, and this is like their my dad, my stepmom. It's her first dog. Not my dad's first dog, but it's like the first one he's really raised and like really, really raised and trained and
Yeah.
So yeah, they're taking it pretty hard. They're all kind of spaced out over there. So I felt horrible. I've been through it many times, unfortunately, myself, and it doesn't really get easier. So catching up though, bringing us to yesterday, Monday night. You know what? I watched a 3-hour Raw in 45 minutes, and I don't feel like I missed anything. But I also watched NXT TakeOver from Saturday. Oh my!
Yeah.
Oh my! Excellent.
Body slams were had.
Excellent show. NXT is easily the best product that WWE has, and just an excellent show. Best one they've done in a while, because TakeOver's like they don't do monthly pay-per-views, they kind of do quarterly ones.
Yeah.
And the last couple might have been a little soft. This one was like, no, we're back now. We've had some roster turnover, but trust us, we know what we're doing. Oh boy. Good show. Very good show.
Nice.
And here we are today.
Yay.
How was your week? I told you I'd try and keep that tight.
No, that was good. You spoke surprisingly less on the Metallica show than I expected you to.
It was
Metallica.
Do you want me to throw all the Pats fans under the bus for the next 20 minutes? I can do that.
From Pats fans from the Metallica show?
Dude, it was at Foxborough, so
No.
Go Pats! Every 5 minutes. Go Pats! Middle of the song. Go Pats! Like, oh my God, please just shut up. Please. Shut up. You've won enough. Stop. And Gillette Stadium, for the record, is nice, but it's not as nice as you might think it is. Like, it's not like a palace. It's just a football stadium.
Yeah. I mean,
for all the crap that, everyone likes, the Ralph is a dump, or New Era Field as we call it. The Nerf now is SBF. It's like the
Ralph is a dump, but I mean,
it's not as dumpy as you think it is. I'll tell you, based on what I've saw. Where Gillette Stadium does beat it, though, the outside facilities. So, attached directly adjacent to the stadium is like a sprawling courtyard and shopping complex of restaurants and bars and shopping and stores and stuff. So they got a whole thing going down there, and I could see that being very attractive, and it's glitzy, beers are $9 in these bars. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's a football stadium, though. It's a football stadium.
There's only so much you can do with a football stadium.
Yeah.
So
tell the NFL that, because they're trying to get the Bills to fleece Erie County for money to build a new. building.
We do need a new stadium. One on the waterfront's going to pretty much solve 95% of the city's problems.
No, that's not how stadiums work. But we'll be paying for it for the rest of our lives. So get ready for that bill to come.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. The show was excellent, dude. I got 5 new songs from the new record. I couldn't have asked for much more. Some people are kind of like, well, didn't you want to hear these old ones? Like other shows, look at this set list. They played a couple of these old ones. Like, dude, you know what? I've heard those live before. Ben, I got a checklist. I got a bucket list. I got 5 new songs. Got to get those ones in.
Nice.
That's where it's at for me right now.
Alrighty.
Yeah. Whew. Oh, and Volbeat is terrible, by the way.
Okay.
Volbeat is the worst.
The worst?
Well, there's a lot of bad stuff out there. They're not the worst, but they are not good.
Who would win in a fight?
Go on.
Volbeat or Voltron?
Voltron.
Okay.
Handily.
All right, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the defender of the universe. We got to make sure.
And unlike Volbeat, Voltron is metal.
Word.
Literally. See?
Word.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just lame sauce. But at least I didn't have to suffer through Avenged Sevenfold, so they didn't play that show for some reason. So it all worked out for me, kind of. If Gojira would have opened, Gojira's opening friggin' West Coast shows on this tour for Metallica. Couldn't they come over here? No. Anyway, it was awesome. So I'm done. Your week.
Okay. Yeah, I get to go.
You dragged the Metallica talk out of me. So
yeah, I know. Okay, so my week, big weekend.
Sure was.
Yes.
Where to begin?
I got to play a lot of X-Wing this weekend.
Okay.
I was very happy about that. My friend Adam, who sent us in questions a couple shows ago and actually has questions this show.
All right.
His lovely wife, Molly, was out of town. So he was like, dude, I'm free Friday night and Saturday night. I'm like, okay, let's get some X-Wing going. And I won every match.
Look at you.
One point...
Was this a fluke, or did you soundly out-strategize?
There were times where I outflew him and got him into like bad spots. But in all the board game and everything we've done, I've never seen anyone go on such a bad dice rolling streak. Like, the force was clearly with me, because at one point he rolled 3 critical hits, which was like the best possible roll he could have.
Yeah.
And I rolled 3 of 8s, which totally canceled out his roll. I felt bad.
Don't feel bad for winning.
It was kind of like the kid in that episode of The Simpsons. Stop! He's already dead. So yeah, but it was a lot of fun. So I got to do that. That was Friday night and Saturday night. Saturday was Nickel City Con.
Sure was.
Julie and I took the young lad to his first Comic-Con, which I'm sure he's not going to remember, and it was a really great show. It hasn't been a full year since the last Nickel City Con, but they've definitely made a lot of improvements. Spoilers, folks, we have a guest on this show, and he had some parts to play Nickel City Con, and he'll talk about that. It was great, like, at one point, and it never occurred to me to do something about it after the fact, but like Alan and I were walking around, we passed the angry video game nerds table, and there was no one talking to him. He's just sitting
I would have just
chilling.
hung out with him all day.
I know. I get weird around famous people.
It's not that famous. Well,
Yeah,
I know.
There's still a stigma I have about guests at cons, about going up to them and being like, "Hi." It's something like circusy sideshow attraction about it a little bit.
Well, you don't want to be a creeper either.
Yeah, no, I know.
So related to that, maybe how about how you feel at the Gojira show?
Really, we're going back to your stuff
real quick. Just it's related. Like, there's this dude, and my friend Ryan Point was like, see this guy over here? He might be a bigger Metallica fan than you. Immediately, I'm like, yeah, right. So I look over, and, he's like, you said he's seen him, like, 25 times. And I'm like, well, that's nice. Must be nice to have that kind of disposable income and time. And he's like, yeah, he was here for the Gojira show before the meet and greet, before the VIP meet and greet. And, like, then he was in Montreal, like, last week, and he's seen him, like, 40 times. So he's one of those dudes who has apparently money to burn and time, and he's going to go to all these shows. Now, granted, when I was a teenager, maybe this would be my dream, but the more I think about it, no, it wouldn't be. This is terrible. You just go to every show and, like, try and hang out with the band. Being in a band, at first I'd be like, hey, cool, man, I appreciate your support. Eventually it's like, dude,
6th and 7th time.
Get a life. Like, you're creeping me out now. You're kind of weird, and you're not, like, going to be my friend or anything. You're just a dude here to see my band. Go away. Go away.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be that guy with the angry video game nerd.
No. But yeah, the show's really good. Single best cosplay of the show. All due respect to our guest, single best cosplay of the show was a guy I came across dressed as Johnny Ringo from Tombstone.
You sent me the picture.
And I was like, it's Johnny Ringo. It looked like someone just walked over his grave.
How many people actually got it besides you? I would have asked him, like, does anyone really know what you're doing? Because I know what you're doing, and it's big ups.
Freaking great.
Yeah.
I didn't ask him that. I got a picture with him. The layout of the show was, I think, much better than the last one. There was more space to move around, and they had, like, much more stuff in there.
Cool.
The only thing, and this isn't specific to Nickel City Con, this is just the modern con in general. It's really exciting that we get, like, Sam Jones and Billy D. Williams and William Shatner here and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it'd be really cool to meet them. But $50 to get an autograph from Billy D. Williams?
Look,
like,
Billy D got to eat.
I know Billy D has to eat. But here's the thing, like, and I'm not 100% sure on this, so don't quote me on this. But I think the way it works for big name guests like that is they have an appearance fee.
Yes.
The con promoters pay the appearance fee. Someone mentioned to me who is... Like,
you don't got to get specific. It's probably private information.
Well, I mean, we're talking big money.
Okay.
Like low-end car purchases. Yeah. I think
I could see that. Okay.
I think Mark Hamill's like $20,000.
I could see that easily.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I think what happens is the con promoters pay the appearance fee, and then they recoup the appearance fee through the autograph fees and whatnot.
Oh, so the autograph fees don't go directly to the guest?
Again, don't quote me. I don't know for sure. I'm actually going to look into see how it works. But if that's the way it works, okay, like, I get that. You don't want to throw out that kind of cash and say, okay, our ticket prices are going to make up for this. Though I will say, this was a very well attended con.
So I hear.
Verge, who was on our show last week, posted on her Facebook page that they estimate roughly 10,000 people.
Cool.
Like, the line was around the convention center. It was just really awesome. But just going back to that, like, I think if I would be willing to pay more money for a ticket if there were some free options available for meeting celebrities.
Sure.
Like, okay, for free, you can get an autograph with, one or two pre-selected items. Anything beyond that, like if you want to bring something to get signed or if you want like the photo op and the meet and greet, that stuff costs money.
Okay.
But just like a basic, because I would have really loved to meet Billy D. Williams and Sam Jones, but I didn't want to pay what would have been told $90.
Yeah. Well, this is what got me at the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega appearance. I was like, I love him to death, but it's $100 to get a picture with him.
It's something like, especially when after you're married and you have a kid and you got to think about
real life.
Yeah, that money can. I mean, that's a lot of X-wing ships. $90.
That's one way to look at it. Sure.
I have an addiction. Leave me alone.
I didn't say it. You brought it up.
So yeah, but the con was great. They did a great job. It was really enjoyable. I met Alan there. We bummed around for a bit. Didn't really make any purchases.
That's my problem at cons too.
There was stuff that at the last Nickel City Con, I was like, I'm running out of money. This one I was just like, there's cool stuff, but nothing that I really want to kind of like spend the money on.
Well, again, you're into parenthood and
Yeah, my barometer now is kind of, if I see something cool that I would like to purchase, I ask myself, okay, if I purchase this now, in 3 years, is this item going to be like in a well-lit, displayable area, or am I going to be annoyed at having to find a place for it while it's collecting dust?
Yep.
So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
I understand.
So yeah, that was Saturday, and then Saturday night was more X-Wing. Sunday was kind of a chill day. We did some browsing for appliances, #boring adult stuff.
That's okay. Appliances are fun.
Yeah.
You're going to use those.
Stove.
Unlike the Comic-Con tchotchkes.
Stove and dishwasher.
Yeah.
And then Sunday night. Last night was actually... Sunday night, just kind of chilled out. Last night was rough. William started teething.
Oh, boy.
And it's one of the back ones, one of the molars, so it can't cut its way through the skin.
It's going to push.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many screams were had. Much sleep was not had by me. But I also watched a documentary on Amazon Prime. I don't think it's a new documentary, but it's definitely recent. It was called The Image Revolution.
I wanted to watch that. That's from the guys at Sequart who did the Grant Morrison documentary, which was fantastic. Those guys are good.
It was really good.
Yeah?
It was really, like, they kind of take it from its inception to when, the 5-6 guys split off from Marvel and DC.
I would like to watch that.
It's really good.
I would love to watch that.
It's definitely worth a watch. And after watching it, like, I don't mind Rob Liefeld as much anymore.
Wow.
Because a lot of it is like, you see that, he was a 25-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Given a huge world of responsibility that he just wasn't mature enough to handle at the time.
No.
So,
or even now.
No, he's gotten a lot better. So I'm not about to go out and like throw down money on old Liefeld issues and try and hunt down
It wouldn't cost too much. They're all in the quarter bin.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, but it's definitely a really good documentary. I'd highly recommend it.
Cool.
That was my week.
All right.
I'm pretty sure was that my week. Yeah, that was my week.
We're caught up.
Double checking my notes. Dear listener, if you would like to tell us about your week, send us questions, comments, inquiries. You can find us at the following social media locations. You can follow us on Twitter at Devils Do Pod. You can go to Facebook.com/Devils Do Pod. You can email us at thedevilsdopod@gmail.com, or you can find all these resources at our website, thedevilsdopodcast.com. That being said, Drew, it is time, and it's going to be a beefy one.
Oh, dear.
For some cross-examination. Now, before we get to the cross-examination,
yeah,
I believe our guest has been patient.
He has been.
He has.
Dealing with our week here.
Yes. Both our massive weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting to be like a legitimate podcast here. 3 weeks in a row, we've had guests on.
Legitimate.
Yeah, legitimate-ish.
Air quotes.
Ish. Ladies and gentlemen, we have on our show this week Mr. Brian Stoyle. Said the last name right. Awesome. Getting better from our last.
Yeah.
Mr. Stoyle here is a member of the Northridge Star Wars cosplaying group. Mm-hmm. He is an actor. He is an artist in many ways. And we've got some fun little announcements that we'll get to later, and we're here to talk to him about that stuff and some Star Wars stuff in general. So that being said, Brian, welcome to the courtroom.
Thank you guys so much for having me. It's really fun being here after listening for a bunch of weeks now.
Sorry to sequester you for so long.
Yeah.
We brought you into the courtroom here.
No, that's okay.
We have to stand up protocol.
That's right.
So Brian's can jump in for the rest of the show. He does have, as they say in the industry, a heart out when we get to the episode. So
all right,
so we don't have him for the whole show, but he will grace us with his presence for as long as he can. All right.
I didn't do my homework for the episode. So.
Oh, yeah. Cardinal sin.
That's I know. Okay. I apologize.
It's quite all right.
Yeah.
All right, so this group of questions actually came in last week from my friend Adam that I mentioned.
Yeah.
He says, Carl and Drew, I figured I would give this whole asking questions thing a whirl again. Carl.
Make it good.
What is one sport or activity could you beat Drew in?
Ooh.
Street Fighter.
I don't know. We've had some good matches.
Really?
In Street Fighter 2? I think we went pretty much 50-50 last time we played here.
No, we didn't.
Super Nintendo? Yeah, I think we did,
Yeah,
actually.
we can resolve that after this is done if you want, because no.
You have a very different memory than I do regarding this Street Fighter night. Now, 4, I would concede. You would hand me my buttocks.
Sounds like you guys need to settle this over a game of Street Fighter.
Sir.
I'm retired.
Okay.
I know what happened.
Sir, all of them you will concede.
Nah, okay.
What is one sport or activity that Drew could beat Carl in?
Apparently not Street Fighter.
No.
Even though it happened, but... I'm not really good at sports or anything, so...
Playing the guitar.
Is that a contest? Sure. Any Mortal Kombat game. How about that? There you go.
I don't think so, but since...
Well, you already lied about Street Fighter, so, you know.
I acquiesce to you on a lot of things, sir. On this, I will not move from my position.
Okay, but I remember us playing, and I'm pretty sure we went pretty much 50-50.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Okay, both of you would be curious to know, what are your top 3 movies of all time?
Oh, God.
Really? You can't do your top 3? My top 3 is easy.
I like a lot of movies, man. Boy. No,
My top 3 is Star Wars, the original, The Crow, and Casablanca.
Man, I couldn't rattle that off that quickly. There's so many.
Brian, top 3 while Drew's thinking?
I got 2. I'm not sure about a third. Back to the Future and Return of the Jedi.
See, I would put those up, and I can't do a top. I could do I could do a list.
I don't think he's asking in order. He's just like, you know.
Oh wow, top of my head, I can give you 10 probably, but like Empire. It's so hard. I feel like I'm leaving stuff out. Godfather 1 and 2, Goodfellas, The Prestige, Captain America: Winter Soldier. I mean, list goes on, man. Ghostbusters for sure.
Ooh, yes.
Back to the Future. Yeah, Back to the Future. 1 and 2. I didn't like 3 as much. 1 and 2 are really good though. Which indie flick do you want here? Raiders.
I think we got the.
I can't
list.
Rank like that. There's so many good movies. I love movies a lot.
As do we all. And then there's a question for each of us. Drew.
Yes.
What is the most anticipated release coming out for the Switch?
Ooh. Well, at this point I would have to say probably Mario Odyssey. That's Nintendo's chosen big gun for the holidays, and I'm sure it's going to be a blockbuster, and I'm sure it's going to be great. But for me, I don't know. I think Splatoon 2 is really the one to watch, because I feel like Splatoon 1 was a new Nintendo IP, and it was very popular. It was one of the most popular games for the Wii U, a console that not a lot of people had. But the game itself had a ton of buzz. People loved it.
I played it over here, and it was a great game.
Right. People really liked it. Given the success of the Switch, and it's more successful than the Wii U already, I think Splatoon 2 is going to be a big game for Nintendo. And I would definitely put it on your calendar and buy it and enjoy it, because it's a lot of fun. It's a whole fresh take on shooters, and it's got charm galore, and it's a fun game. So, yeah.
Cool. Question for me. Did you like my Jar Jar Binks profile picture on Facebook? No, I did not. And now I no longer feel bad about trouncing your sorry butt in X-Wing. You got the roles you deserve, sir. All right. Those are the questions from Adam. Adam, thank you very much. Now, questions from our friend in Staten Island, Mr. Emmanuel Marin.
Ooh, I got an announcement for him, too.
Ooh, okay.
Let's get the question first.
All right. Carl and Drew, I've long felt that while DC is awful in the movies, they seem to do a halfway decent job on the small screen.
Sure
With that
do.
in mind, any thoughts on the decision to not include Black Lightning in the Arrowverse?
I don't watch these shows, so I don't like have a particularly like strong take on it. But to me, it does seem a little weird. And
It really does.
Why not?
I don't get it. This is like the first thing they've done with the television shows that I'm just kind of like reeks of a decision that the movies would make.
Yeah,
because the trailer, and we're going to get to that in our news, spoiler, trailer looks freaking awesome. And that's to be expected from the DC, CW shows. It's confusing. I don't understand why they're doing it, but at the same time, it's not to say that it won't be in the future because the
Supergirl
multiverse
was supposed to kind of be not part of it too, right? Then eventually they just said, you know what? No, we're doing it.
But the multiverse is a thing in the show.
Okay, so
it's full on. Like there's Earth 2. They've traveled to it, whatnot. Jay Garrick and everything.
So they could find a way.
Yeah, they can do it.
All right.
It's possible to happen in the future.
It is a weird. It is a little suspect though. That it's like, no, we're not doing it that way.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't get it. On the topic of good actors getting stuck with bad scripts, I like to think that Thomas Jane could have been a decent Punisher. Any thoughts on his short, Dirty Laundry?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's okay. It's all right.
Punisher-ish.
It's Punisher-ish. I think like I've watched it, and my problem with it is like he waits way too long to like take some action.
Yeah.
Like there's a woman being accosted outside. He's just kind of like ignoring it until finally. Frank would just go deal with things real quick. So it's okay if he wants to play it again. I get it, but like, dude, don't pine. Like you're coming off desperate, and John Bernthal's your daddy now.
Yeah,
so sorry.
He's God.
Yeah.
Especially after this week's episode. His last question is, when are we getting another Devil's Brew segment?
I mean,
kind of had a pseudo one.
I gave you a little quickie.
We do need to get back into Devil's Brew and Devil's Stew.
I have stories.
Okay.
So, soon. How about that?
Yes.
We'll get back to that.
When will then be now?
Soon. An announcement for Manny and for any of our New York City area listeners as well, by the way. Probably should have brought it up earlier, but I can safely talk about it now, so thanks for reminding me, Manny. The Long Cold Dark, my band, will be making our Brooklyn debut on July 21st at the Knitting Factory. So y'all been told, New York City, so I want to see you all there at the Knitting Factory on July 21st. Do not let me down. This is a big deal for me. Come on out to the show. I promise that we're really good. And so is the band that is graciously inviting us to join them on stage. This band called Ikilia. They're really good. They're a national act. Nice guys. And we're having them here in Buffalo the week prior, and they graciously invited us to play with them in Brooklyn, and we are doing so. So, going to be cool. Manny, maybe I'll see you there.
Awesome. Now on to the Riggs and Murtaugh of the Devil's Due.
Oh, dear.
Mr. J. Gelsomino, Mr. Alan Waiters.
It's kind of literal, too.
First off, Jay, I'm not splitting my questions up this week because I really want your personal answers on all of these. He says that, and then he has a question for just you at the end of it.
Okay, I accept this.
Carl and Drew, if you were putting on a con, what are your top 4 guests you would choose, and who would you dress as? A Devil's Due con.
Wow.
Court con?
Court con. Let's see. I would have to say we get number one. Number one? Nah. Okay. No. Again, I'm bad at rankings. So
Yeah.
off the cuff. Brian Michael Bendis, Alex Maleev, Ed Brubaker. If he's alive, Frank Miller. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I saw you cringe.
It's a coin toss.
I saw you. Depending on which Frank shows up. Joe Quesada.
No Grant Morrison?
He didn't write Daredevil.
Well, we're putting on a con.
Oh, geez. Okay. I was keeping it, show pertinent. But if we're just talking con in general, yeah, Grant Morrison's my rock star for the weekend. He's my big get. He doesn't do a whole ton of appearances that I can tell. He does San Diego once in a while, but that's about it. So
he had a quick snippet in the documentary.
Cool. All right. Yeah, he's my guest of honor for the weekend at MyCon.
Yeah.
Sir. That aside, the ones I mentioned, I'd go big on comic guests. I want creators there.
Well, since you're covering the comic guests, I'll cover the other media guests. Give me Kevin Conroy, Paul Dini. I could probably do a sweet panel together.
Yeah.
Yoshinori Ono, who's kind of like the producer of Street Fighter, and Danny Trejo.
Okay. If we're throwing game guests in, get me Shigeru Miyamoto immediately. And on a personal note, I say if you could also get Joel Hodgson from Mystery Science Theater, that would be fun for me as well.
I'm going to have Hideo Kojima just to piss you off.
Oh, boy. The conversations you can have with Hideo Kojima, I'm sure.
Okay, Jay's next question. Given the passing of Powers Booth and Bill Paxton, who from Tombstone do we need to protect next?
Kurt Russell.
Note, Kurt Russell is fine since he's since he is indestructible, and Michael Biehn has Sean Beam status, where he's died so many times in movies that he is immortal in real life.
Well, I think he's also preserved in alcohol in real life, too. So, allegedly. Based on some con photos I've seen of him. Sam Elliott. We need to protect Sam Elliott.
I think the Grim Reaper's afraid of Sam.
He should be.
Yeah.
He absolutely should be.
You don't think Jason Priestley needs a little protection?
No. No.
So you're saying Jason Priestley is the one we trip while getting Sam Elliott away from the Grim Reaper?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Take him! Run, Sam!
Take Beverly Hills now, too.
That's right.
All right. Yeah. No, you're right. No, Sam Elliott. Definitely. Yeah. All right. Drew.
Yeah?
What is/was your favorite wrestler accessory? Animals included.
Animals included. My favorite wrestler accessory. Even though I am deathly afraid of snakes.
So am I.
Jake the Snake has the ultimate wrestling accessory.
He does.
That was, I mean, he threw a snake on a guy.
That's true.
It's kind of spooky, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I'm going to go old school only because it had probably more in-ring appearances than the snake. I'm going to go with Jimmy Hart's megaphone.
Okay.
Because that's just, you can't picture Jimmy Hart without the megaphone.
No, it's kind of a big deal.
It's classic.
Sure.
Always weirded me out when he became Hulk Hogan's manager. I'm like, this doesn't...
All along in real life, you didn't know, but they were like best friends.
Oh, I knew that.
Yeah.
But just when they decided to...
Because Jimmy was the heel manager all those years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, it's weird.
So, thank you, Jay. Now on to Mr. Alan Waiters.
Yeah, Alan. Fresh from his Vegas excursion.
Yeah, I got some details about that Vegas
I got a few yesterday myself.
Yeah. Carl and Drew, what is the wildest thing you have done in your life that can't be talked about on air?
He's all fired up from Vegas now.
He said, Carl, tell Drew that Bro Day does not count for this question.
Bro Day's not that wild.
Wildest thing you've done.
Wildest thing I've done that I can talk about. Oh, boy. Dude, I'm pretty...
Yeah,
I've lived a real sheltered life.
Exciting.
No, me neither. The wildest thing I've done, I can actually talk about. Just kids, don't do what I did, or rather, if you're amongst friends, what?
No, you got it.
Oh, okay. If you're amongst friends and you know when to stop yourself, do what I did.
Don't do what Johnny Don't does.
Good pull. A night that will live on in infamy, 1999, January 30th.
Cast your minds back.
What's that?
Cast your minds back.
Yeah, a little bit. January 30th, 1999, night before New Year's Eve. No, I'm sorry, December 30th, 1999. Boy, I'm okay.
Get to the story.
Getting there.
Setting the scene.
Me and some friends took a trip to Flint, Michigan to see Metallica on New Year's Eve, turn of the millennium. The night before, we had a two-level hotel room suite in Flint. So 2 levels.
Yeah.
Master bed upstairs, pull-out couch and bedroom downstairs. Ceiling fan. The master bed upstairs overlooked the downstairs. Well, we got really hammered. And I mean, we had a night of just going berserk, playing loud rock and roll in the hotel room and drinking and acting a fool. And at a certain point, one of us realized that the ceiling fan was there. So, did you ever see that Beavis and Butthead where they're in the burger world?
Drew versus Gravity.
No, but remember when they had they had the ceiling fan at Burger World?
Yep,
and they just started chucking stuff at it. Well, we kind of reenacted that, and we just started throwing stuff at the ceiling fan to see what would happen. And then we had 2 big bags of these really generic sandwich cookies, not Oreos, but generic Oreos.
Yeah,
different flavors.
Yeah.
Individual cookies exploded on impact in the ceiling fan. So 2 bags of cookies made their way into the ceiling fan over the course of the evening. Eventually, a pizza box, which went flying very far, actually. I think one of the plants, a big plant that was in the hotel room, got elevated into the ceiling fan at a certain point. A couch was tackled. No one jumped out of the room into the pool. Fortunately, that would have been rough. And no one threw a TV out the window, even though we did think about it. But due to the cookies, the next day, or by the end of the night, or when we woke up and came to, the floor of this hotel was that of a sandy beach. And hangovers were had. And then we went to the metallic show, and everything was right with the world. But for a night, that was quite the adventure. So that's the wildest thing I can think of, and it's not all that wild. But that's the wildest thing I can think of now that is show appropriate. So
right.
Do that, kids. Throw things at a ceiling fan.
It's fun.
When you don't have to clean it up, it's the best. We left a generous tip to the housekeeping staff, by the way.
Good. So, again, I'm a boring person. Wildest thing I ever did that I could think of would have been when I was working at Regal Cinemas.
Oh dear.
Yep.
Oh dear. Does it all involve a popcorn bucket?
No.
Okay.
No. Does involve a high-speed pursuit, though.
Ooh.
So, it was like a weekday night, which is mostly dead at a theater, even in the summertime. And I was working there with my friend Nick, and it just so happened that we were out on the main lobby, just kind of sweeping up and whatnot. All of a sudden, we hear, like, one of our friends from down the hall say, "Grab him!" And these 2 kids come bolting out of the theater, and we're like, "What the heck's going on?" Our friend Sherm comes out like, "They're theater hopping, grab them!"
How dare they?
Yeah. And so we ran after him. Now, for those of you who have seen me, I'm not built for speed nor agility. And at the time, Nick was faster than me, but, didn't care as much. So we got out to the parking lot. We saw him walking away, and they kind of gave us the single finger salute. And at that point, I was like, "My car's over there. You want to go chase him down?" Nick was like, "Yes." So we got in my car, and we proceeded to chase them into the next parking lot over, like shooting right across Elmwood, totally disregarding
you guys take
traffic and
this
whatnot.
Theater hopping seriously.
We were bored.
Oh, okay. Well, it's fair.
So
what if they had a gun, though?
No. These kids, this is before Elmwood Regal is a place where you would suspect someone had a gun.
This could happen anywhere. It's America, man. Everyone's got a gun.
Yeah. So we chased them down to the parking lot, and just as we were about to catch up to them, they hopped the fence. Yeah. I was willing to chase them in the car. I was not willing to ram my car through a fence.
That would have been so baller if you did, though.
Really would have been.
They would have crapped their pants had you tore through that fence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just imagine that visual. Like an action movie.
So, yeah, that was That was my lame excuse for the wildest thing I've ever done.
It's not bad. It's good.
Like I said, I'm a boring person. All right. So that brings cross-examination to an end. Time to open up the case files. Yes.
These could be better.
You know, ups and downs, strikes and gutters.
Yeah.
Again, for a second week in a row, we have to start on. We'll start on the down notes and bring it back. Today was announced that Roger Moore, the third James Bond, and I believe Bond for 6 or 7 movies, passed away at age 89.
Sad. This is the first
sad.
Bond actor to die, too,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
I had to double check with a friend of mine who's a Bond expert, and he said, "Yeah, George Lazenby is
I was
still
just
kicking
gonna
around."
say,
Yeah, because he never he didn't do much beyond.
Right.
he was the one timer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
He wasn't even really an actor. He was just a model who just kind of looked pretty. And that was
Yeah.
the reason they chose him after Sean Connery.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it. That's really the reason.
All right.
It was the 70s, man. They didn't.
So
That's
the,
right.
The bar was that low. You look good. Put him in.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I will fondly. I mean, obviously, he will always be remembered as James Bond, but I will fondly remember Roger Moore from his fantastic performance in Cannonball Run, where he played someone who believed he was Roger Moore and just camped it up. It's fantastic.
All right. I've never saw it.
Oh, jeez.
I know.
Ticks me off. Okay, it was announced yesterday that Zack Snyder would be leaving the Justice League production and Joss Whedon would be taking over.
Now, when I saw that headline, I want to put this out there. Dear internet sites who write headlines, when you write that headline, you are asking for what you are putting in the headline, and then what you are saying in the body of the
Yeah.
why. You are really misleading people.
Yeah, all the headlines were like that.
So let's clarify.
Yeah, typically you would hear this headline and think that we would be rejoicing and regaling at this. Unfortunately, the reason he is leaving is because his daughter committed suicide.
Yeah.
And as I said in our posts, we tease and we make fun of him a lot, but at the end of the day, we're all human beings. So definitely our thoughts, our prayers, our condolences go out to the Snyder family, and we hope that, as good as they can get in this time, that they get there. So yeah, that's really that sucks.
And it's kind of amazing that I guess it happened in March, and he didn't say any. I didn't even know he had kids to begin with. So he kept it quiet and tried to work through it, I guess.
Yeah.
And eventually, just dude, walk away.
Yeah.
There is no
one's gonna
hold. No one's gonna hold that against you.
I think next week we'll talk about what this could mean for the movie.
Sure.
It just feels a little I
don't want to get into.
It's not the right time.
No.
Let that kind of go. We'll get into that next week.
We got more bad news too. Alan just sent this our way.
Oh.
If any of our Clerks fans, like we all are, unfortunately, Lisa Spoonhour has died at 44. She played Caitlin Bree.
Really?
Caitlin.
What
Wow.
happened? Nothing disclosed earlier.
I don't have any details as to how she passed away, but 44 years old, and she is survived by a husband and daughter.
Oh,
so that's
wow.
a real bummer, man.
That's like, someone told the Grim Reaper that he could never do better than 2016, and now he's just like, hold my beer.
Yeah.
So,
It's,
that's...
Yeah. We're off
that
to a
sucks.
lovely start this year, I'll tell you.
Yeah. All right, so on to more lighter fare. As we mentioned earlier, this week CW dropped the Black Lightning trailer. I know it's not your jam normally, but did you watch it at all?
I did not. I've heard everyone say it looks great.
His costume looks off the page.
Cool.
You watched it, I know.
I did
Ryan.
watch the trailer, yeah. I think it looks really great, yeah.
Do you watch the CW shows?
I am pretty familiar with the CW verse, yeah. I actually have a friend, Justin Monk, who started off as a cosplayer who now works in the leather shop in Vancouver for them. He actually got to help with the design of the Future Flash costume from the recent episode of The Flash, and a few things for Supergirl and what have you. So he likes sending, just like brief updates of like non-spoilery versions of what he's working on. Like, hey, be sure to check this out whenever it goes on, and what have you. So it's really cool to see. But yeah, it's kind of a shame like this show's not being included with the other.
Because it's just, and it's really, they're taking a really interesting take on it because.
Isn't it like he's like a retired superhero and he's coming back? It's
very non-formulaic from like the CW shows have done with their characters, which are, as great as the shows are, they're all very young and very pretty.
Right.
It's kind of like, the Dark Knight Returns of Black Lightning. So he's retired, he's a principal, he's got kids, and then, just through circumstances finds himself having to be Black Lightning again.
Cool.
And it's just like the visuals look great, the costume looks great. I'm really excited about the show.
Yeah.
All right.
So that was out. And here's one thing of DC films we will mention because it's really friggin' frustrating. They released a picture this week of Amber Heard as Mara.
Okay.
And it looks fantastic.
All right.
Because clearly they haven't drained out the color yet.
Yeah.
It looks off the page.
Well, it's going to be nice and dark and black before they get done with it, so don't get too excited.
Yeah, you see it, and you're like, why aren't you here? I got the article here that I sent you earlier that you clearly didn't read. Yeah, there it is.
I did read that. I did see the picture. It does look great. I'd be shocked if it looks like that in the final product.
Oh, it's not going to look like that in the final product. There's way too much color.
Desaturate.
Yeah.
Well, is that her in Justice League or is that her in the Aquaman movie?
That's her in Aquaman.
Well, we don't know if they're going to color correct that one to death yet.
Well, that one is...
It's not directed by Zack Snyder.
No, that's one of the two post-Snyder influence films, that and Wonder Woman. So
we'll see about that. Quick nitpick on Wonder Woman. I heard it's good, so I'm
everything I've heard is really positive.
Curious how it's going to be. The bar is low, so I mean, all it's got to do is be better than these other films. And it's like, hey, a win, good. You need some positive buzz right now over there. I saw that poster of her holding the tank.
That's pretty awesome.
Looks great. Problem: that tank is not era appropriate for the war that she's in that movie, nor is it for the right countries that she would have been fighting. Oops. Oops.
As folks, he
One step forward.
He might drive you nuts
back.
with his constant hating of DC, but I gotta give him credit. When he's right, he's right.
Here's the thing: I didn't notice. I'm not well actually guy here right now. Well, actually, that's not me today.
Which is funny because you were kind of well actually.
I thought it looked cool, and I was like, "Oh, it looks awesome. That's a cool poster." And I read some comments, and then people pointed out that, nope, oops,
yeah.
Wrong era tank.
So is it a World War II tank instead of World War I?
That's correct.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well,
it does look cool though. It's a very cool poster. It's not quite accurate. That's all.
How are you feeling, Wonder Woman? What do you think?
No, here's the thing. I really want it to succeed.
Yeah.
I think that we're due for a female-led superhero movie for a long time now. And Gal Gadot was one of the best parts of a really crappy movie in Batman v Superman.
They nailed the look and feel of Wonder Woman.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things, like, for all the criticisms for Zack Snyder, like, look and feel he gets usually pretty well. Story, pacing, characterization, what have you. Again, that's, only on a professional sense, not with his personal life.
He can put
but
a gorgeous picture on the screen.
Absolutely.
It's just tone is so off.
Yes,
for
exactly.
the characters that he's doing.
What do you call it? The murderverse? Is that?
That's the common. I didn't coin that term, but again,
Okay.
that's in the common parlance and comment sections. It is the murderverse.
Yeah, but I had to laugh at the reviews too because they're saying like it's the best DC movie so far, and like you just said, the bar's so low. It's like
it's not.
That's like being the valedictorian of summer school. You know, it's like
That's good. I like that.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
good.
you know, I hope it's better than that. But that's the thing. Like we go into DC movies with like the attitude of please don't suck, please don't suck. Where you go to a Marvel movie nowadays, you know, with at least an MCU movie, and you're like,
yes,
how bad could this be?
Right.
Like, is it worse than Iron Man 2? Then it's still going to be pretty okay. You know, like it's a very different like approach to these universes so far, and I hope they can kind of right the ship, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, we've said for all the mocking we do, we also say that we want the DC films to be good.
Yes,
because
I would love for them to be good.
Competition breeds quality.
I've seen what no competition does in wrestling, and it ain't good.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get a little Monday Night War action happening at the box office here, and make it fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Make Marvel respond to a little kick in the pants.
Exactly.
You know?
Totally.
Because right now they could just be like, yeah, Iron Fist sucked, but you know,
what are you going to do about
Yeah.
it? Essentially, yeah, exactly. Yep.
Okay,
Totes.
so for our last news item, we go to a bit of casting news. Apparently, Tom Hardy is on a quest to play every comic book villain that was popular in the 90s. As he has been cast as Venom in Sony's upcoming standalone. Why are you doing this, Sony? Venom picture?
Because it's a recognizable character and they can make money on it. Oh, and it's not going to tie into Marvel's Spider-Man at all.
Why would it?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't know. I get okay, whatever. Tom Hardy, yay. He's going to do what Bond actor is he going to impersonate this time to play Venom? Maybe he'll do a Roger Moore instead of Sean Connery. Tribute.
I'm Roger Moore.
But yeah, whatever. Venom's dependent on Spider-Man. So if Spider-Man's not in the movie, okay, we're already off to a rocky start.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, like, at what point is Tom Holland Spider-Man showing up? Is he showing up at all?
Yeah, he's not gonna.
Well, then what are we doing exactly? And I hear them talking like, we're going to make a Silver Sable movie. It's like, no one cares about Silver Sable. Mm-hmm. No one.
To be fair, though, that's kind of the obscure character that they can kind of pluck, and because people don't know the character, they can potentially make a good movie out of that.
It's possible, but I don't think it's going to be what they probably think it's going to be. Like, if they're banking on that to, like, you know, be a tentpole or something, like your little Spider-Man-less Spider-Man verse, no.
So let me ask you this. If Venom was going to be in a Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man film with Spider-Man, what would you think of this casting?
I'm not really a Tom Hardy guy.
Okay.
So I don't have much of a reaction. It's okay, sure.
Could have done worse, could have done better.
He's a name, and he's an intense guy, so I'm sure he'll bring something to the role, but I just don't have much of a read on, like, oh, yeah, it's perfect Eddie Brock. Is it? I don't know exactly. Yeah. It's fine. He's a big name. People seem to really like the guy, so, I mean, it's going to get some attention on it, but, like, I don't have really any affinity for Venom. He's a cool visual, but he's not really a character I care about. You know what I mean? Like,
he was a good enough character to stick.
Sure.
Like the symbiote?
Not completely unlike the symbiote. So what do you think of the casting?
I like the casting. I just hate everything else I'm hearing about the production.
Yeah.
Like, why is this not sticking with the MCU? We were all celebrating when Sony said we're going to lend Spider-Man back and produce Homecoming under the auspices of the MCU, and now it's like, well, that was good for about 2 movies, and now we're going to go back and make our own thing.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you guys remember the Sony hack that happened 1.5 years, 2 years ago, and they kind of released, like, oh, yeah, we're going to make Aunt May the movie. That's exciting, you know? Like,
well,
what
if
were
you make it with Marissa Tomei.
I mean, well, now, yeah. No, but it's just, I mean, like,
I'd watch that movie.
Right? Yeah. But I just, even before this happened, like I remember watching, I was in New York City when Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out, and I remember watching that and getting to the climactic fight right before the Gwen Stacy moment, and I'm sitting there watching this huge battle and going, I don't care what happens. Because none of it mattered to me. You know, it's like the time investment spent on these two movies that were really made to keep the rights more than anything else.
See, I think ultimately that's going to be their problem.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone kind of knows, even like not everybody, but people that generate buzz, that buzz is hindered by the fact that everyone just is kind of aware that's like, this just only exists so you guys have an excuse to like deprive us of something better.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that stinks. So why should I get excited? I don't want this to succeed. I'd rather it fail, and I'd rather you give it back to the people that can make it succeed. As weird as that sounds, but
Yeah.
It sucks though because they were getting along for two movies. Like they were actually like going to do something that's going to print money and be celebrated for once, as opposed to all they can do is lose by this. You know, it's like, great, you're in the MCU. That's what we all wanted. Well, we're not doing that anymore, and then the fan outrage is going to come back.
Well, they're still doing it. Like Spider-Man himself is still walking between both worlds, but anything outside of him showing up in Avengers is not in the Avengers in the MCU at all.
Right.
So I get it's kind of, I don't know, whatever.
Here's the smartest thing Sony could have done, because they're already doing an animated Spider-Man film with Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Build that Spider-Man universe. Say, okay, Peter Parker, he's with Marvel. We've got Miles Morales. We're going to build a world around him.
Sure.
Just do that.
I think
why aren't I running a studio?
You're not going to like this.
Gold.
You're not going to like this, but this was reported. When Marvel signed the rights over, the movie rights to Sony for Spider-Man, their mandate, part of the deal, Spider-Man has to be Peter Parker, and he's got to be white. It's in writing.
That's what happens when you do that right after the Clone Saga.
More and more things you learn and documentaries you watch. You may love the characters, but the way Marvel and DC decide to do business is pretty...
Business is business.
Very, very contradictory to the spirit of their characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's business. Business sucks.
Yeah, well, no, business is good, and that's the problem.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. From an ethical and moral standpoint, business sucks.
Yeah,
and that's why whenever I hear people say, well, it's just business, I'm like, well, you got to do what's right for business. And people that say things like that as if it's just totally self-justifying, that's bullcrap.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a way to hand wave. We're going to do something really horrible and unethical, but hey, it's business, so you'll be okay with it.
Yep.
So yeah, that's my thoughts on business.
Bet
you didn't know you were getting that today.
Ethic lessons with Drew.
He does have a heart.
No, he has ethics. We didn't say anything about a heart.
Touché, sir.
Pump the brakes there, little brother. Also, just really quickly, I just remembered they also announced Lego Marvel Superheroes 2.
Okay.
Not a hint of an X-Men or Fantastic Four character in it. Spider-Man 2099, Doctor Strange, Groot, Rocket, all front and center. No.
Shocked, I tell you. Shocked.
All right, so that does it for the case files. Let's sit down and talk with our guests.
Let's.
Courthouse. Brian, as we mentioned, you are heavily involved in the Northridge crew. Why don't you give us some history of the Northridge crew and tell us what you guys are all about.
Absolutely. The Northridge was founded in Buffalo in 2002. Back during that time, during the prequel heyday and pre-Facebook and what have you, a lot of fan communities were more website-based because you didn't have like social media. So the Northridge is a chapter of what was called Fan Force, which was fan clubs that were regionally, locally based through the web forums of theforce.net, one of the largest fan websites, especially back in that day, and it's still very prominent today. But the Fan Force concept as a whole, a lot of chapters have since kind of, died down, gone away, or transformed into other things, where the Northridge has been kicking very strong, and it's usually just us and I think the Fan Force chapter in Denver that have like really held on and become active and long-standing fan force chapters nationally in the United States anyway. Now, that's not to say that it couldn't sprout back up again, but we've been going strong since the start, basically, which has been really cool. I joined in 2003, right after my first year in college. I just wanted to meet more local nerds. And at the time, I was one of the youngest people in the group. I was like 19, and everyone else was kind of like 25, 30 or older, or what have you. But it's really nice because you have this broad array of fans who are multi-generational, come from very different backgrounds, very different jobs and interests and what have you. But there's that one thing that really brings people together in some way or another, and that's fandom. Star Wars in this case, but, like many fan groups, whatever their fandom of choice is, you bring all those people from backgrounds together. We're actually, surprisingly, not exclusively a cosplay group. We are a Star Wars fan club, first and foremost, but all of our public presentations tend to be through some form of cosplay. So it's what we're known for around here, which is totally fine. And it's something that we really enjoy because, like a lot of other groups, we do it for charity. We raise money for most charities. Our usual charity is Compass House, a halfway house for kids and teens who are having trouble at home or are having domestic violence problems or what have you like that. It's a safe space, and I know that's a very politically charged phrase the last few years, but for this demographic, it could not be more important or necessary for the minors who can't go out on their own in a legal sense to take care of themselves. They've got somewhere they can go at 3 a.m, or if they really just need to get away from home for a couple hours or a couple of days or what have you. So we've raised a lot of money for them over the years, and other charities as well. If another charity wants to work with us, we're happy to help with those things in addition. But we like to use our nerd powers for good, as I like to say. So, cosplay is one of the biggest things. We've seen a lot in the Buffalo area. Our biggest event would be the Buffalo Bison Star Wars Night every summer. We also do things like Clarence Winterfest, different walks for charities, Nickel City Con, which we were just at this past weekend, and anywhere else that people would like to see some Star Wars atmosphere added to their event.
Nice.
Yeah.
What now, I mean, obviously you see a lot of people in costumes at shows or whatnot.
Sure.
What I'm gonna ask this, it may sound condescending, but it's not intended to be. No, I know. What sets a cosplayer above someone who just kind of throws a slapdash costume together for a show?
Sure.
Like because there's people who dress up and then there are cosplayers.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny, like, because I got into this before cosplay was really like a phrase here, or at least, in the zeitgeist that it is now. And like, I was pretty resistant to calling myself a cosplayer for a long time because a lot of what I did was through a group like the Northridge, So I really looked at it as it's costuming because it's for a charitable purpose, Whereas I always saw cosplay as going to a con, dressing up, having fun, and it being not in a negative sense, but inherently selfish. Like, it's for your enjoyment as an artist, for the creation of it and the enjoyment of going to con, getting, photos or what have you. And not like selfish in a bad way, but it's like it's for your own personal enjoyment, where what we did was, there was elements of that, but more so like for a different purpose, I guess, So, I mean, for us, it's more so about doing good stuff for our community, but obviously the enjoyment of cosplay is certainly there also. I think that with groups like this, because obviously, we get a lot of comparisons with things like the 501st Legion or the Rebel Legion, which are the major international cosplay groups for Star Wars characters. They have very strict standards for all their costumes to make them as movie accurate as possible. We don't go that far, but we still have some basic standards of, does it look like somebody would recognize it from 10 or 20 feet away in a crowd, So, we don't...
You can't buy your costume at Party City.
Right, exactly. Or no bathrobe Jedi, as they like to call them, So things like that. And
I prefer to call them comfortable Jedi.
That's right. Casual Friday Jedi. Yeah. But, we try to keep it as an authentic Star Wars experience while not necessarily adhering to the people who are as restrictive with the 501st. And that's not to say anything against the 501st or the Rebel Legions. We actually have a lot of members that are 501st members and are Rebel Legion members, and their costumes are top-notch. But we do allow people a little bit of an easier access of entry, in a sense, for people. Yeah. So if they find something online or if they assemble something themselves, and they just want to do good for their community, they're always welcome. And honestly, like with our group, a costume's not required because we do more than just the cosplay aspect. But, a lot of people tend to find their way into the costume at some point or another just being around us.
Cool.
Yeah.
What I always think is really cool when I see in a cosplayer, it's the one thing that always gets me, it's such a small thing too, is when a stormtrooper has the speakers.
Yeah.
And they got the little click before and after they start talking.
Is that in the 501st manual, how to do that, or is that an extra?
That is actually, pretty much when you get to 501st level, you have a lot of resources with groups like this. That's probably one of the other differences between us and cosplayers just kind of, I don't want to say slumming it because that's a very condescending tone about it, but doing your own thing versus having a communal resource, let's say. With things like the 501st, there are web forums and groups and what have you where you can look up what other people have done, and there are a lot of speakers you can buy on eBay or Amazon or what have you that come recommended by people who have gone through them already, and said, this sounds really good, this fits in my helmet very well, I can't fit this as well as 2 or 3 fans in my Stormtrooper helmet, but if you modify it like so, then it could work or what have you, or you could wear it on your belt if you put a box around it or put it in the grenade thing on the back of the Stormtrooper armor, so it comes with a lot of perks of tips of people who have gone through before. But yes, the radios are really cool, and I have a very cheap version for a Mandalorian costume I built a couple years ago. They're fun.
Nice,
cool,
yeah.
So what? Because I've seen you in numerous events.
Yes,
and I've seen you in different roles. What characters are in your portfolio?
Sure. Star Wars specific for Northridge. I have generally played some version of Luke Skywalker since about 2004. Okay. It started with A New Hope, Tatooine, Farm Boy Luke when I was in and right out of college, and that morphed into X-Wing pilot Luke, and then I was lucky enough to acquire enough scratch when Museum Replicas had the license for costumes, and I got the Return of the Jedi ensemble. So I was Return of the Jedi Luke for many years.
All right.
And for this summer, for the Bison Star Wars night, I'm going to be debuting a Force Awakens Luke, since now I am more beardly than I used to be. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing you were pretty jazzed when you saw the beard on him.
I'm like, yes! Wow, I can keep going the way I've been going, and I've got 30 years to grow into this cosplay, It's every year, instead of being like Tatooine Luke, where every year I get a year away from being reasonably able to pull off the costume, now I'm 1 year closer to perfection. All right.
Now we just got to do something about the hand.
You got a hacksaw in the garage, don't you?
I do, actually.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Oh, you guys were going that way. You're going really literal. Oh, dear.
We're just trying to help you out.
No, I appreciate that.
We've got some duct tape. We've got some Neosporin. We've watched enough ER. You'll be fine.
Oh, okay. All right.
I just had something in my head. The past couple shows you've been his name escapes me. The pilot from Rogue One.
Yes.
The general.
Well, a member of that squadron, yeah. I'm not specifically going for the leader of Blue Squadron, but I really liked the Blue Squadron jumpsuits, and it's...
The guy with a Bully mustache.
Yeah, that mustache is beautiful. Oh, man. That thing is majestic. But yeah, I've been doing an X-Wing pilot costume for many years, and I really loved the Rogue Squadron, or the Rogue One Blue Squadron uniforms, because it's the same X-Wing getup, but a different flight suit.
Yeah.
And blue's my favorite color, and I'm just like, this works so well. I need to do this. So,
So
it's fun.
You guys, right before we started, you showed me a picture of an incredible project you guys are working on. Are you allowed to talk about this? Or?
Yeah, no, it's out in the public now. So, yes. So, for Star Wars Night this year, the Bisons have commissioned members of the Northridge, led by the very talented Daniel Reynolds, to build a life-size Jabba the Hutt that will be present during Buffalo Bison Star Wars Night this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Will it be piloted by people inside of it? Like, how will it work?
I don't think piloting is a word that I've heard in relation to Jabba before. That's interesting. Yeah, piloting Jabba. Yes, we actually are building it as a puppet.
Wow.
Daniel spent a lot of time researching how they built the actual puppet for Return of the Jedi. Sizing, dimensions, all that stuff, and details and what have you. So we have been building it as close to scale as we can do with, a much more modest budget than Industrial Light and Magic tends to have.
Yeah.
But we have been building this since January.
You're also building it for real, which is something
there's that.
Industrial
Yeah,
Light
for
Magic
actual
hasn't done in the
presentation.
most recent years.
Will you have a Salacious Crumb puppet to go with it?
We have Salacious Crumb.
Stock just went up.
Yeah.
So, Brian, this is really cool. Bison Star Wars Night sounds really fun. Who else is going to be at Bison Star Wars Night?
I've heard a rumor that we have two wonderful podcast hosts of a little something called The Devil's Due hanging out at Buffalo Bison Star Wars Night this year.
Well, you rebel scum.
You didn't put enough drip into that. You rebel scum.
Ooh, sassy.
So yeah, folks.
Cool, man.
We can officially announce that we are going to be part of the Star Wars Night. So if you want to meet us, come on out. We're going to try and check our social medias for what we look like. We're more than happy to sign autographs and sure.
Will you sign my iPhone? I download the podcast onto my iPhone.
I'll happily sign your iPhone.
Nice.
I might smash your iPhone.
Oh.
But I'll sign it first.
Drew,
Man, that's such a mixed bag.
That doesn't help us grow the listenership.
It's true.
You've lost a listener in the most literal fashion there.
Well, wait, maybe.
If you smash a listener's iPhone, that listener stays a fan, then that listener is the type of fan that you were describing earlier that you don't want.
It's possible. You're right. Yeah, you're right. When you're right, you're right.
By the sixth iPhone, you're like, get out of here, man.
Exactly. So you're saying I got some leeway.
You got a little bit of a buffer zone.
Okay. I'm okay with this. This works.
Yep.
Cool. Dates, times.
It is Saturday, June 3rd. The gates open at 5 o'clock. I believe we have a meet and greet for several fans at 4 o'clock. The game starts at 6:05. And the Northridge will be present for photo ops throughout the game until about the 7th inning. And during the game, we have several video episodes of a storyline this year for a story called Convergence, which will culminate with a live lightsaber combat show on the field, including more video and fireworks after the game.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. And,
Star Wars Night's a big deal for the Bisons.
Yeah,
it's probably one of the most popular games to attend every single year.
It's become their highest seller. I remember
go.
the year
That's
we beat
awesome.
out Independence Eve, and they were like, "I can't believe it! Star Wars beat everything."
it's Star Wars.
It's Star Wars, man. And they do superhero ones too, right?
Yes, they do. I actually
believe
helped
the
with
Superhero Alliance.
Yeah, I actually
that.
helped with the first year of Superhero Night before the Superhero Alliance really formalized, and we got that up and running. And now the Superhero Alliance is it's in good hands with them, and they're taking it off
Nice.
and
We should
doing
get
a
in
great
touch with
job
them,
with it
too.
as well.
Yes.
Well, we'll have
They
to
usually have Daredevil cosplayers there.
See,
so,
we can.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got to talk to them.
yeah.
So yeah, folks, we're going to be there. We might have a table there. It's kind of not quite sure about that yet, but we're definitely going to be there. We hope to see you there. Stop by and check out the Northridge. Again, everything they do is for charity. They're a really great group. They're always entertaining. They're always so gracious with taking pictures and everything. They've got some really high quality costumes in their repertoire. You've got a fantastic Chewbacca.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, he's awesome.
You've got an episode for Princess Leia that's just spot on. You guys have an R2-D2, don't you?
Yes, we do. We have remote-controlled R2-D2 astromech droid rolling around.
No little people were harmed in the making of your R2-D2.
No, he is 100% robotic.
Okay, cool.
This time.
We learn from our mistakes.
I'm fine, but the midget inside of me has a concussion.
Our member, John, actually spent 4 years building his R2-D2.
Wow.
Yeah, that's dedication. And that was before he ever knew the group existed.
What's the price tag if you want to build your own R2 unit ballpark.
I think that's probably about 4 portions of a human soul.
Alrighty.
Yeah, somewhere around there. No, it's it depends how robust you want to do it. I mean, they make it easier for things today because they actually offer. I don't know if you guys saw Sideshow Collectibles just made an R2-D2 statue that you could display in your house for about $1,200. You can make a modest R2-D2 that probably doesn't have a whole lot of bells and whistles, both literally and figuratively, for a couple $100. Especially now that 3D printing is so prevalent. But if you want to go into like accurate, robotics and having, pieces move as they were in the movies and what have you, you're probably looking well over, $1,000 or $2,000 depending on your setup.
I can only imagine how much the demise of Radio Shack has hindered those.
We have Amazon.
We have Amazon now.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, we've got the business out of the way. Let's just really quickly before we let you go, talk a little bit of Star Wars.
Sure.
What obviously Last Jedi's coming out.
Yes.
You've seen the trailer. Thoughts? What do you think?
I'm excited
What are you
for Last
hoping
Jedi.
for? What do you want to see? Just kind of.
I hope Luke Skywalker stays alive first and foremost.
God, yes, please.
No, Luke's my boy, so I will like whenever they do that. If they do that in 8 or 9, I know I'm gonna just lose my cool.
Oh, I was
fast.
ugly crying when Han died.
Oh yeah,
I was in the theater. and I knew it was going to happen. I was just like,
all you Han fanboys who had that moment the last movie, that's going to be me when Luke bites it, whenever that may come. I
would
know it.
certainly hope that, given that Harrison Ford wanted out and got his way.
Yeah.
So Han's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie Fisher's unfortunately no longer with us, so they're probably going to have to hand wave her death off screen or something. Luke, you're our only hope.
Where have I heard?
Don't die,
before?
buddy. They can't kill Luke. I mean, come on, give us something.
I know. Mark Hamill's such a joy too. You don't want that not available for your movie set. Come on now.
The stuff they've released of things he's done with the Omays and whatnot. He is the standard bearer for the franchise. He's the one that carries the flag and reciprocates in the best ways possible. Since again we don't have Carrie with us anymore.
And Harrison doesn't care.
Yeah, Harrison doesn't care. The love that's shown. He seems the most genuinely appreciative of it.
Yeah.
Well, he knows where his bread is buttered. So.
Yeah.
Well, he's also a fan too. Like he was going to Comic-Con before Star Wars even happened.
Yeah.
Just as a fan. Like
he seems very, very cool. He's one of us.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel he's one of us.
Yeah. I'm excited for Rian Johnson too. Like I really am pumped. Like I remember like the day after Disney bought Star Wars in 2012, there was a podcast that was out and they were like, yeah, it's possible you get all these directors' takes on Star Wars now. And Looper had like just come out that year. And people were like, what would a Rian Johnson Star Wars be like? And like everybody was like, that's the most exciting thing I've heard.
Yeah.
And it's like now it's like, wow, that's going to be part of the saga. Not even one of these offshoot movies. It's the saga.
Did you ever see Looper, Drew?
I did not, actually.
It's good.
Okay.
It's really good.
Ask me how much I love the movie Looper.
How much do you love the movie Looper, Brian?
I, Joseph Gordon, love it. You're welcome.
He's why I haven't seen Looper. So ironically. So
listen,
he's got that G.I. Joe stink on him.
Don't. Listen. Joseph Gordon-Levitt got to eat.
He gave a Cobra commanding performance, sir.
Brian, no, we don't go there. With
Sometimes the pun just isn't worth it.
No,
I
the pun is
apologize.
not worth the punch you will get in the face.
Perhaps you did not see the video of me destroying the DVD with a sword.
No, I did not, but I would love to, actually.
Yeah, back in
that sounds amazing.
Back in a previous show Drew had, they did a movie night, and I hosted it, and at the end of it, I had the first G.I. Joe movie on Blu-ray, and I allowed Drew to destroy it. And
I had to purge some demons, because that movie broke me in a way that you don't understand.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I am sorry.
I thought of something earlier this week that 98% chance it will never happen in The Last Jedi, or any Star Wars movie. The two characters I would love to see appear that are canon, that I would love to see appear the most in a film: 000 and
BB-8 or
BT.
Yeah.
BT.
Oh, yeah. For the Darth Vader comic.
Give me the homicidal protocol droid and the War Machine astromech droid.
Mm-hmm.
Please. Who would I want to voice 000?
Whenever I've read 000 in the comics, I have Matt Smith from Doctor Who in my head.
Okay.
Just because he's got that like propriety that C-3PO would, but you're talking about such terrible things like torture and poison and what have you that like that'd be kind of fun to go like that dark with somebody who's known for being a little more whimsical.
Yeah.
You know? Kind of like a David Tennant thing where he was the Doctor and then he got to play, Kilgrave and all that. So
Yeah.
Can we just get David Tennant?
I'm not going to complain about David Tennant doing anything. You could read the phone book and I'm down.
Sure. That would be so awesome.
Yeah.
Like if they had to interrogate someone.
Yeah.
It'd be so great. Did you see the Vanity Fair covers they released today?
I did, yeah.
Did you see them?
Oh.
What do you think of Phasma not having the helmet on?
I'm intrigued to see if that's what's going to happen in the movie or not.
Well, I mean, they casted her and then was like, don't worry, you're not going to see her at all.
Yeah.
So good.
She was the Boba Fett of
Well,
Force Awakens.
I think they're really
And
trying to play
really cool
Phasma
look.
more this movie. Like, you see it with the tie-in stuff. She's got a book coming out, a comic, and what have you, And, like, even before Force Awakens came out, JJ said, like, Phasma doesn't do much in this movie, but hopefully she'll catch on, and then, she didn't.
And I see that Finn is carrying on the tradition of, borrowing someone else's clothes.
Actually, Poe as well. Had that undershirt. It was very Han Solo.
Yeah, but Finn is legit just like, hey, Poe, I'm going to wear your clothes. And Lando's like, dude, I'm still wearing Han's clothes over here. Okay, sure.
Oh, man.
Got Luke looking like Ben. It's just...
They don't have Amazon in the galaxy far, far away. You got to... It's shipping is slower. You need something for a day.
Yeah.
It's laundry day. You got a deal.
Do we think Kylo Ren puts the mask back on at all?
Oh yeah.
Only for the first couple of minutes. Because that's what's destroyed in the trailer. Is
yes,
Kylo Ren's
it is
mask.
destroyed.
I thought it was Vader's.
No, if you
watch
look
closer.
closely,
it's got the eye, the eye decoration.
Yeah, like the chrome ring,
which
around
is weird. Then, so if he's going to go helmetless for the movie.
No, as an actor, like you see that with all the superhero movies. By the climax, the mask is blown off or ripped off, so the actor can emote better.
Yeah, but he worships Grandpa a lot. I figured he wants to put the helmet on. And...
Well, Kylo doesn't have two friends willing to take them out to the garage with hacksaws and Neosporin to be dependent on the mask for his accurate cosplay, like I've been offered this fine day. So
we are here for you. That's the service we're willing to provide.
I did notice something in the Vanity Fair cover with Luke too, by the way. The Luke and Rey cover. Yeah. I did notice that Luke is wearing a glove on his robo hand.
Well, that just makes sense for budgeting.
It's a brown glove. Here's why that matters.
Okay.
Think about the trailer. Remember the trailer? Mm-hmm. Remember the book?
And the brown gloved hand on the book pages. Yeah.
Little tie in there.
Yeah.
See?
All right.
So that means what that means is that Luke has Jedi books that he's found in his travels.
Yeah.
This is little plot stuff. It's important.
Then I know.
True.
We're all excited. Well, Brian, you've been so generous with your time. Thank you very much. Before we let you get out of here, can you tell the people where they can find you, where they can find Northridge in the social media verse?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's plug the Northridge first because that's what's most important. You can find thenorthridge.com. That's our main website. You can find all of our social media links and our forums for anyone who might be interested in joining us and what have you. That's the best place to start. We are on Facebook and Twitter at The Northridge and YouTube as well. And we are on Instagram at Northridge Buffalo. And you could find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at BP Stoyle.
All righty.
Yeah. And before I get out of here, I just want to say a huge thank you both to you guys for having me come on here, and also to Tom Fenzel, who pitched for me to come on in the first place. So I do appreciate that very much.
The Devil's Due Network.
See, right. Listeners, you send in your questions and things happen.
That's right. Thank you, Tom, and I hope Colin's enjoying the show.
Ooh, all right.
There you go.
All right. Brian, thank you very much.
Of course.
We can get you out of here so we can get to rustling some papers.
Thank you.
All right, Drew, we've had our normal show stuff. Now to get to the main course, it's time to rustle them papers.
Let's.
Daredevil Season 2, Episode 8, Guilty as Sin. Now, Drew, I have next to the title on my notes in parentheses, Game Changer.
Okay.
Because to me, this episode was a game changer for the season, because we pivot in this episode from being like vigilante, localized in an area-based story, to just seeing how much bigger Matt's world is about to get.
Sure. Yeah, okay, I get that. Okay. Yeah.
And just like the thing that we've been waiting for ever since we saw Nobu in season 1.
As I have in capital letters as my first item, ninjas.
What's my first item?
It says ninjas.
It says ninjas.
We get lots of hand ninjas.
Ninjas.
Nitpick.
Not red.
They're not all red.
Yeah.
I mean, Nobu rocked the all red.
Nobu was off the page.
Yeah, but the generic hand cannon fodder, they have black with some red.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
It's a little thing.
We're getting the hand. I'm willing to forego the full red outfit.
Yeah. So, and we learn very quickly, Matt can't track the hand.
No.
The way he can track his normal opponents.
He says they have no heartbeats and no breath. That's weird.
Yeah. For, people who are walking around doing stuff.
But I do have... That's going to come around again at the end of this episode, and I have questions. So let's get there. Okay? Okay.
Yes.
Now, him and Elektra are still investigating the giant 40-story deep hole.
That's a big friggin' hole.
It's a big hole. And then they get attacked by the ninjas. And now we're in fighting mode. Now, if I can observe something about the fight here.
Yes.
Matt, buddy, draw the fight away from the hole.
Yeah.
You're going to fall.
Yeah.
He has a couple near misses with the hole.
Yep.
Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Walk away from the hole, Matt.
That would freak me out, because anytime I'm at a high ledge or something like that.
Oh, dude. Me and heights.
You're like, I wouldn't jump, but what if I did?
I get really clammy around heights.
Yeah.
Real bad.
Yeah.
And that's with railings and stuff.
I'm okay with secure heights, but
even secure heights.
If I can get over it myself, I'm just like, eh.
I get a little the CN Tower in Toronto? They got the glass floor.
Yeah.
That takes some effort for me to get on that glass floor, sir. I get real nervous.
Yeah. And we have the most welcome return of this episode, Stick.
Well, someone had to save the day.
Yeah, because, Elektra was holding her own, and then she was about to finish off a hand ninja, and Matt tried to stop her, and then she got sliced.
Well, here's the thing.
Slice and dice, to use a Dark Knight Returns reference.
I mean, look, Matt, I understand the whole no killing policy. I do. I get it, man. Yeah. But these dudes are playing for keeps, buddy. You might have to let this go a little. I'm not saying you got to kill anybody, but if Elektra's got to take a couple of these dudes out to, get the two of you out of there alive, I don't know. Matt is confronting a lot of his policies in this episode as well. I don't know. I'm not advocating killing, because it's Matt's whole thing is he won't cross that line. But dude, you distracting her just got her slashed across the gut.
And another thing that I like that they did throughout this episode is just because when it's done right, it's such a great visual, is the throwing stars.
Oh, so many stars.
So many ninja stars. They got jumpy and flippy around them.
It's going to come up later, but I guess I'll just bring it up now because I don't want to forget. But in movies, guns have infinite ammo.
Yeah.
That ninja at the end, spoilers, he has infinite ninja stars.
Oh, yeah.
He just starts throwing them out at will.
Haven't you ever played Shinobi?
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Just infinite.
Yeah.
I'm doing the doing
the hand thing.
You have to. It's a visual, but you don't have it. But trust me, if you played Shinobi, you know what I'm talking about.
The bonus stages.
That's correct. That's awesome.
So
anyway,
Stick shows up.
Stick to the rescue, man.
Yep. Bails
Who's
out.
his driver?
We'll say Bob.
Bob the driver?
Yeah, we'll just call him Bob.
Okay, Bob.
We don't know who he is.
Good looks, Bob.
Yeah.
He's in
and we have a ninja chase.
We have a ninja chase.
Ninjas, it's just, when you think about it, yeah, you can say it's kind of generic and whatnot, but just the visuals. Like, ninjas were to like the 80s what zombies are today.
Sure.
Ninjas were everywhere in the 80s, and they got played out, and they never got quite done right.
Do you remember for a little while on the internet there was the whole ninjas versus pirates meme?
Yeah.
And then the Vikings showed up, and then it was Vikings versus pirates versus ninjas.
Robots and then, zombies.
Yeah. But ninjas are in that pantheon of stuff.
They are. And it's been a while since we've seen
while.
ninjas done properly. And we definitely see it in this episode. And the chasing is like, because there's like, 20, 30 of these guys on foot, 6 firing a crossbow, just any which way, and he's hitting one every time.
Yeah, Matt's catching arrows out of the air.
Yeah, and later on in the episode we see catching arrows in other parts too.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Now, after they get back to Matt's place, which leading them back to Matt's place. Is this the right call here? I know we got to save Elektra's life because apparently that she's got some kind of poison in her and hospitals won't know what to do with it, so Stick's going to fix her. But like, you're being chased by ninjas. We got to go back to your place, Matt. If I'm Matt, I'm like, no.
Yeah. Well, a couple things with that. It appears at first, at least from their perspective, that they've shaken the ninjas.
All right, fair enough.
Second, like you said, Elektra's poisoned, so you have to get her somewhere where you can treat her quickly. Third, strategically thinking, they know Matt's place.
Yeah.
They know the layout, they know the entrances and egress, and so...
Doesn't seem to help too much.
No, I know.
Given what happens later.
We have a Ninja Turtles moment where there's the one ninja that, follows them to their lair.
I see what you did there. Yeah.
It's I'm going to write the Daredevil Ninja Turtles crossover.
Someone has to.
Someone should.
Someone really should.
Yeah.
How has this not happened yet? I don't know.
I don't know. It's so simple.
Do you realize if it happens now? I'm trying to think back now. I'm going through my memory banks of history. But if it were to happen now, it would technically be like the first Disney Nickelodeon crossover.
Yeah. Which leads me to believe it's...
not going to happen. Very unlikely.
Mickey and SpongeBob don't get along very well.
No. But the Little Mermaid and SpongeBob, it's like it writes itself. It writes itself.
Right.
I don't know.
So we learn at Matt's place that Stick knows Elektra.
Yes, he does.
And he goes through like all this rigmarole to save Elektra, and then drops like, she's been through worse. And Matt's like, wait a tick.
Yeah. Yeah. So at this point, Matt's realizing that all these various aspects of his life are kind of intertwined, and he's not handling it very well.
Yeah. At the end of this episode, you can argue that Matt has completely lost the Matt Murdock aspect of his life.
In a lot of ways.
It doesn't look like, Foggy and Karen are pissed at him.
Yeah.
And like Foggy wants nothing to do with him. Karen walks in and finds Elektra laying in his bed.
Yeah. I feel like, oh, by the way, total jerk move. I have a different word written here, but Stick, buddy. Maybe stall, maybe distract. Don't just let her in.
Stick doesn't care.
I know. That's why he's a jerk.
Stick doesn't care. Stick probably sees it as a way to...
to draw Matt in closer and fight his war. But yeah, he lets Karen in, and then Karen catches... Yeah. But if I'm Matt, I'm like, wait. Now, granted, Karen didn't want to see it, but I'd be like, she got sliced open.
Yeah.
It's not what it looks like.
No. She got sliced open by a sword, not by what you're thinking of.
Right. But no, he plays dumb, and he implicates... Well, she puts 2 and 2 together. Yeah,
you can't blame her. I mean,
I can't, but Matt could have, wait. Not what you think here.
Well, he tried to do that, and she's just, not having it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
True.
Yeah. So, we get we get a crossroads not only for Matt in this episode, but also for Elektra.
Yes, we do.
Because we get it's just a really good, I love the character of Stick, how Scott Glenn portrays him. Is one of the most enjoyable characters in the series to watch. And just when he's like telling the history of the hand.
And Matt's not buying it, though.
Matt's not buying it, but it's just such a great scene.
Oh, it's excellent. Scott Glenn nails it.
Yeah.
He plays the character with such a total, gruff.
Zero FGs.
Yes, exactly. Exactly that.
And like talking about the hand, explaining to him what the chase are, and just I just love watching character. But obviously, we learned that Elektra was part of the chase.
Yes, that's the group that is opposed to the hand.
Yes,
one of the groups that it's opposed to the hand, because that if there's one thing I have figured out on Iron Fist, it's that apparently Iron Fists are supposed to be against the hand too.
Yes,
still haven't finished that, by the way.
Yeah.
I'll think about it.
Probably.
But so she has been working for Stick all this time.
Yeah, and
then Matt doesn't take that well.
No, Matt doesn't take that well. The crossroad she comes to is, does she want to continue on with the chase, or does she want to
be with Matt?
Which she clearly wants to be with Matt.
She says as much, but as Matt finds out when they first met, was that real, or was Matt working for Stick?
Was it destiny, or was I a mission?
And she says you were a mission.
Yeah.
So what I have here written down is basically Matt is finding out that his life is kind of been a lie up to this point.
Yeah, a lot of aspects of it.
So, because Elektra was like the one, she was the one that really shaped him in a lot of ways. And oops, by the way, wasn't real. Not really real anyway.
Yeah, and we get a glimpse of the possibility of a happy ending for Matt and Elektra in this episode.
Briefly.
And it lasts all of 30 seconds.
Yep.
And then Matt catches an arrow through the lung.
Yeah, so Elektra's on the mend. She kicks Stick out. She tells him, Matt thinks I'm good, and Matt thinks that I'm capable of being something other than your soldier.
Matt can fix me.
So she boots out Stick. Matt comes back. Yay, you booted out Stick. Matt doesn't hear the ninja that has infiltrated his apartment.
No,
here's the thing. He takes an arrow through the chest. We get a fight, a little ninja fight. Matt one-on-one with some dude with an arrow through the chest. But he wins. Matt eventually gets the better of the ninja. Takes his mask off. He's a kid. Suddenly he hears a heartbeat. I thought they don't have heartbeats and breath and stuff. What's going on? It may be
because there's one of two explanations from the previous statement that he doesn't hear a heartbeat and breath.
Okay.
One of two things. From the comics, they're sticking to what the hand ninjas are, which are resurrected foes.
Yeah.
They're not technically alive.
They're kind of zombies.
Yeah, they're ninja zombies.
But this kid was alive.
The other explanation, which is probably more applicable to the show, is that they're taught a masking technique.
Okay, I'll buy that. I'm going to have to, because the show kind of contradicts itself here.
Yeah, but then again, later episodes when they've got a hand ninja on the table, we see
Then I'm more confused. Then
stuff.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but like right before this happens, we get this nice little moment between Matt and Elektra where Matt has pretty much lost both Foggy and Karen,
which reasons we'll talk about in a moment.
Yeah, he's most likely not going to have his practice anymore. So all he's left with is Elektra and a war.
And he doesn't really want to be in the war.
Yeah, but he realizes that the war has to be fought, but he wants to do it his way. So he says to Elektra, I'm willing to give us a chance, and I want you to fight this war with me, but it's got to be done my way. And Elektra makes what is, in at least the moment, an honest attempt to be a good person, to be a better person than what she is.
Sure.
And then that all goes away in a decision to slit the ninja's throat.
Well, Matt's beating him up and says, "Tell whoever you work for that I'm coming," or whatever. And hell's coming with me, and all that. And then out of nowhere, Elektra
Just shows up,
slices the dude's throat right in front of
slicing
Matt.
dice.
And basically, she says, "This is who I am."
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Sorry, Matt.
30 seconds. You couldn't go more than 30 seconds without trying to be a better person. So,
Yeah.
that
Can you try
that's
not
rough.
killing someone?
Yeah. So as a combination of shock and a punctured lung, probably filling up with blood, Matt passes out. And
So basically,
normally you think that's where the credit rolls, but there's a whole other aspect of this episode we got.
well, let's talk about the B story in this episode.
Shift over.
Let's shift over gears here. So
the B story, in that it's the B story in the script, is by no means a lesser story.
no, because we got to progress the adventures of the drama.
The trial of the century.
Yes, of Mr. Frank Castle.
Yes. Hey kids, it's Clancy Brown.
Clancy Brown shows up. Not a prison guard this time, though.
No, not a prison guard, not Lex Luthor, not, Clancy Brown does a lot of stuff.
Not a priest in a weird freak show on Turn of the Century Carnival.
I would not be
Carnival was good.
opposed. I would not be opposed to meeting Clancy Brown at a con if it was a reasonable price.
A reasonable price, sure.
I think my limit's like $30.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I better get a photo and an autograph for that $30 though.
Ironically enough, though, I'm willing to pay more for comic writers and artists than I am for
Celebrities.
Yeah.
I understand.
So
Totally.
the trial's going on, and they have a character witness for Frank.
And it was his one of his commanding officers.
Yeah, and he goes through detail of the mission that earned Frank the Navy Cross. I believe.
Cross.
Yes, which is just like one step below
The Medal of Honor.
The
We
war
find out some
medal.
details about Frank in war, by the way.
Yes,
Frank killed a lot of people in war.
Frank killed a guy
Frank killed 32 people.
with a trident.
Yes. 32 people. Saved his whole squad,
Yeah.
including the CO on the stand.
Yep.
But yeah, Frank killed 32 people, and apparently he was pretty jovial about it.
Yeah. And then we have the DA steps on a big landmine.
Oh, yeah, she walks right into that.
She's ramping up her defense, and then gets shut down by the colonel right away,
Yep.
saying,
Tried to,
how do
rebut.
you know about this? Because you weren't there. Oh.
I was his commanding officer there.
Yes.
I'm the one who got them into the mess they were in, and Frank got us out, and he deserves the Medal of Honor.
And then the rest of the episode, as far as courtroom stuff goes, is decidedly in Nelson and Murdoch's favor.
Well,
Up until...
let me stop you right there. As soon as that scene happened with Karen saying to Frank, "You got to take the stand," I immediately just went, "No."
Yeah.
Do you remember what happened when he was going to take the plea for you? And he totally said, "I'm not guilty." Remember when you were going to plea him out and he totally spit in that woman's face?
Yeah.
In front of you? Lied to you?
Well, apparently that wasn't the original plan to have Frank take the stand, but because the outburst of the kid in the courtroom saying, "You killed my dad!"
He's Chris Penn?
"You killed my dad!
Point that gun at my dad!
Why'd you kill my dad? I knew it wasn't bad. Why'd you kill my dad?
Oh.
It made me very sad.
I need Jay here now for the Chris Penn voice, but anyway, yeah, but
I'm not very glad."
But they could have. I don't know. That's why they haven't take the stand. I mean, come on, whatever.
Well, they clearly didn't want to do it, but they were saying that they have no other choice.
They had a choice. They could.
Yeah.
The judge told the jury to disregard the kid anyway. I mean, if you're
Does that really work? You can't erase something like that from your brain.
if you're an honest juror, you pay attention to the facts of the case. I mean, I get it. It's emotional.
Yeah.
I understand, but still, bad call putting Frank on the stand. And then Foggy, Matt, you're the only one who can do it. You hate him right now.
And you've been doing a perfectly fine job.
Yes.
Now, granted, in Foggy's defense, he said, listen, there are things that he's good at and there are things that I'm good at.
Sure.
That's why we're partners.
Yes.
And I can understand that.
I get
Just
it.
like our arrangement here. There are things that you're good at and there are things that I'm good at.
I get it, but this is just this is a whole comedy of errors happening on the defense right now.
I think it just gets worse by the fact that Matt doesn't so much question Frank as he sounds like he's making his closing statement.
Well, that and can I? So Matt's given this speech essentially, right? Here's what I want to know: who's talking there? Is that Matt talking, or is that Daredevil talking? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, Matt's basically trying to justify his own actions. He's like confessing almost of like what he does without actually confessing what he does.
Because I think because a couple episodes ago we had Daredevil letting Mahoney take the credit for the Frank Castle bus.
Yes.
He's like, the cops have to be the ones with the power. It can't be the vigilantes.
Right.
Now, I think after an experience with the hand, he sees what he's up against. And he realizes the cops can't handle that.
Yes.
And that he, and to a certain extent, Frank, are needed.
Yeah.
So,
and he kind of says Frank is needed. He's misguided, but he's needed.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So, and I have one nitpick about this episode.
Okay.
And it happens in this courtroom scene. Last time I checked, a courtroom was not the same as a WWE crowd. In that, I don't believe you're allowed to have
signage. Yeah.
In the courtroom, I saw that. I was like, "What? No."
Hey, man. I don't know.
Yeah. So
it's for effect.
Yeah, I know, but still. So Frank takes stand. He listens to Matt's spiel, but before Matt starts questioning Frank, Matt picks up a little something that the cop says to Frank when he places him on the stand.
Yeah.
And that's like, you know it's good for you, make the right decision thing, something along those lines.
Sure. And
in a great curveball by the show, everybody's thinking this has something to do with Reyes.
Mm-hmm.
That since the DA is trying to cover something up, but it's really something else, which we'll get to at the end of the episode. But Frank just goes ahead and torpedoes his own case.
Well, I don't think he appreciated everyone trying to paint him as like, and I have this written down too, because they go in the beginning, they're talking about the bullet that he took to the head and all that. The show seems to kind of want to make you question Frank's motives and make you think like, well, his superpower, if you will, is that he's, for lack of a better term, is that he's got some kind of brain damage, or that he, is reliving trauma all the time, and that's why he's the Punisher. Well, thankfully, the show corrects itself. Well, Frank forcefully corrects everyone on the stand and says, like, you think I have problems? You think I don't know what I'm capable of? I know exactly what I'm doing, and I'll do it again, and I'm going to keep doing it. You want the Punisher? I am the Punisher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a friggin' fantastic moment in the episode. And then, the case is done. Like, there's no recovering from this.
No, Frank, sorry, buddy, you're guilty. You're going away for a while.
Foggy's pissed at Matt. Karen's
lost the
pissed at
case
Matt.
in grand fashion.
For all intents and purposes, Nelson and Murdoch is ceasing to exist at this point.
Yes, they blame Matt for blowing up. Well, they blame Matt for basically like being hostile to Frank and causing him to go off the rails.
Yeah.
Which is debatable.
Yeah. So we follow Frank to prison.
He's going to prison.
Which, putting the Punisher and Gen Pop in prison is like putting me in an all-you-can-eat Chinese buffet.
It's kind of where he wants to be.
It's going to end better for me than it is for them.
Yeah. Please, sir, please don't take the serving trays. Do they sound like the actions of a man who had all he could eat?
And what did Mrs. Simpson, what did you do when the restaurant kicked you out?
We drove around all night looking for another all-you-can-eat fish restaurant.
And when you couldn't find another all-you-can-eat restaurant,
we went fishing. It's one of the most brilliant sequences ever on that show.
It really is.
If it please the court, can we show the jury how much shrimp Mr. Simpson ate?
'Tis no man, 'tis a bottomless eating machine.
Thousands of letters, all written to Santa Claus. Oh, you want the people versus Saint Nick down the hall? Phil Hartman, man, I miss you. Anyway. Yeah, so Frank goes to jail. And said cop, who... Was it the same cop?
Yeah, same cop.
Instead of going, where Frank's supposed to go, I guess, into Gen Pop, they take him aside, take him out to the yard.
Turn off security cameras.
They turned off the security cameras. That's not going to bode well.
No.
Now, here's my thought. If they were... I've watched enough Oz to know that you're going to get killed, buddy.
End.
But if they were going to kill him, they would have left him shackled, I think.
Yeah.
So they unshackle him and take him out to the yard.
So at this point, when you first saw the episode, are you starting to get the chills? Or are you starting to think...
Honestly, I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, what the hell?
Really?
No, I had no idea.
Wow.
None. So I was like, okay, what's going on? And then...
How much you bench, bro?
Wilson Fisk shows up. I marked hard when I first saw this episode because I said with Electra, dude, I did not know that he was coming back.
Yeah.
Oh, he's back.
He's back in convict form.
Vincent D'Onofrio, Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, is back, and he wants to have a little chat with Frank.
Yes, and that's where our episode ends.
Yeah, that's excites.
This was a great episode.
Nitpick.
Just
so you know, I read this from prisoner letters. In prison, they don't have free weights.
Well, yeah, it can be used as a weapon.
Exactly. So those that bench that he was using, that's for effect.
Wilson Fisk.
Maybe he pulls some strings.
Get what he wants.
Because he was putting up a lot of weight, but they don't have individual plates in prison. They're all preset. They're all pre-measured bars because they don't want people putting them on a towel and beating the crap out of you with them.
Yeah. There were 5 discs on each end of that bar.
Yeah. Do the math. It's 45 a plate, dude.
It's a lot.
And the bar weighs 45. So
he benches more than I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet he benches more than basically anyone.
Yeah.
It's a show.
It's
just a show.
All right.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Great episode.
I mean, it's a lot of action in this episode, and the courtroom stuff kind of goes by pretty quickly. But you're getting you get the basically Frank dropping any visage of like, I don't know. I don't want to call it humanity, but I think you get to see who he really is here. And this is the true Punisher, the guy who knows exactly what he's doing, and he's going to keep doing it, and you're not going to stop him, period.
Yep.
And you get the Kingpin back, and you have Matt's life falling apart, like it does.
Like it tends to do.
Matt's only allowed little blips of happiness. That's kind of the character's staple. And then you get the big escalation of the war with the hand, which... spoilers, the Defenders is going to kind of pick up on too.
Hope so.
So yeah.
Because the Hand have been even they're one of the bright spots in Iron Fist. So having the Hand back,
sure, they're there. They are there.
Yes, they are. All right, dear listeners, that brings us to an end of our episode of Devil's Due. As always, we thank you for joining us. Closing argument, second week in a row we haven't had any answers to the question.
Then perhaps it's time to retire.
Yeah. We will retool and...
We're getting enough during the cross-examination where I'm pretty happy, so it's all good.
We'll retool the concept of closing argument. I think someone once suggested, Drew should have a segment, What Grinds My Gears?
Dude,
my response
we'd be here all day.
My response was, have you listened to any other episode at any given time?
Now. Be nice.
I'm not being mean. I'm just being factual.
Fair enough.
All right, folks. If you want to ask us some questions, find out more about anything you heard on the show, make suggestions about the show, by all means, send us your queries at the following resources. You can follow us on Twitch at Devil's Due Pod.
Twitch? We're streaming now?
Twitch. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool, though. I've kind of been kicking around an idea of maybe, like, our game nights. a way of kind of, I don't know, maybe recording one or I don't know, something to get us out into the visual medium a little more.
Oh, I don't know if people are ready for that.
Well, you're the looks of the operation.
Oh God,
especially with you going to the Gaim and all.
Oh, I'm falling apart though. Okay.
So if you would like to find us on Twitter, you can go to @DevilsDoPod. You can go to Facebook.com/DevilsDoPod. You can email us at thedevilsdupod@gmail.com, or you can find all those resources on thedevilsdupodcast.com. Once again, special thank you to our guest, Brian Stoyle. We hope to see you, many of you, at the Star Wars Bison's Night.
Yes. I will happily accept a craft brew from all of you. Please, by all means, buy me a beer.
Please, someone buy him a Coors Light.
Do you want the listeners to wear it? Because they will.
So, folks, we appreciate you as always. Review us on iTunes. Retweet, share our new episode post. It helps out so much. Until we meet again, Court is